In a world searching for a light in the dark, there is only one two-man team with the balls to take you by the hand and lead you towards the light. That one team is RantWorthy Podcast. Welcome back, everybody. It's another Sunday, March 4th, 2018. I'm your host, Lee Powell, with my co-host, Rye, Cobra Kai, Schomburg.
What's going on?
And we are casting the pods from a secret bunker in the heartland of America, Cincinnati, O-H-I-O. Sponsorships. We have those. Fighter Philosophy. Go to Etsy shop. Go to Fighter Philosophy. Pick up a sweet rash guard. Keep you nice and clean while you're out there grappling with men. Or maybe women. Who knows?
Mostly men.
Yeah, mostly men. For us, specifically.
Yeah.
Go to fighterphilosophy.com. Pick them up there also. But mainly go to Etsy. Love them. They've been supporting us damn near since the beginning. So hit them up. They're back. Keto Delivered. The curators of keto goodness. They find the best keto-friendly ingredients, condiments, snacks, and much, much more. Send them to your doorstep every month. KetoDelivered.com.
Today we munched on 2 different types of beef jerky.
Yeah, speaking of, you can go ahead and talk. I'm going to eat some of this cereal.
We had some moon cheese, and then we also had, what's the brand on that?
Which one?
You're eating right now?
Let me see here. Breakfast cereal. Clean Eating? Is that what they're called?
Yeah, I think so.
Clean Eating. That's the most straightforward name I've ever heard in my life. I can tell you yes. I'll tell you what, guys. It is really freaking good, though.
We'll post some pictures online because I got to figure out what the exact brand name is. But we've had this cereal before.
This version's better by a long shot.
And the last one was phenomenal. But this is strawberries and chocolate version. It is like, I believe it's a half of a net carb per serving, and it is so good.
To die.
Oh, it is incredible. So
got a Swedish flag on the front.
it does have a Swedish flag on there. I will definitely post pictures of this stuff this week. We got lots of goodies now.
This is really good, and then the the jerky that they sent was really good.
Yeah.
They also sent some like straight up chocolate. It was really good too because I don't know about you, but I don't like really, really sweet like shit. Really, it's not really my thing. But if you have even a mild sweet tooth, it was good without being overboard. Yeah, like I liked it. It was
if it's so rich that you feel like you need to drink an entire glass of water afterwards. Yeah, I'm out. Me too. I don't like that.
I'm not into it. I don't sit around eating Hershey's.
Yeah.
So, really quick about this week. Not even this week because I always put this week on the outline. And I'm like I talk shit. It was this morning. So I look out the window this morning. Me, my daughter, my wife. Are all in the kitchen. I'm dying. Hold on.
He was in the kitchen. That's
what you get when you eat cereal on air and then start drinking. I'm gonna take one more drink and then we're gonna hit the ground running. Okay, boys.
This is why we do this live. This is why podcasts are great right here.
Yeah,
because you're getting an unedited, clean version.
I'm gonna choke to death on air.
Sometimes people choke in real life.
Yeah, that's a fact. So, me, my daughter, my wife are all hanging in the kitchen this morning, and we're making the girl breakfast. So, we're making pancakes and eggs and a bunch of shit, right? So, we're hanging out. We look out the back door, and I see like a little squirrel body. I was like, oh, shit, because I have dogs, and they're little guys. And I look out there, and I'm like, oh, shit. It looks, and I can't see very far because I have terrible eyesight.
He needs glasses.
Yeah, I need glasses. Refuses. So I look at it and I see a little bit of red around like the top of it, and I was like, "Oh man!" So they must have like attacked this little bastard, or he must have fell out of a tree, and then they did something. I don't know, So I didn't let my dogs out because I'm like, obviously I need to go clean this up before they get out there because that's weird and disgusting. So at one point, my daughter and my wife, because I need to work on the show. They ended up going to the grocery store without me, so I'm at home, and I get everything done, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to run outside, clean up that squirrel, get it out of here. I go out there to this squirrel, right? And I'm thinking, I don't know what I was even expecting, but I'm thinking maybe a squirrel with maybe it just looks knocked out and it has a little red on its head. I don't know. Dude, I went out there, it was missing its entire head.
Oh my God.
I'm serious. It was missing its entire head was gone. I did not want to start the show like this. I swear on my life. I know this is like I'm choking to death, and now I'm talking about this morbid shit. I know it's weird, but this is life.
Yeah.
And
sometimes there's a headless squirrel in your backyard.
dude, I'm saying it wasn't like, oh, a portion of the head is gone. It isn't like there's a little bit of spine. No, it was completely gone. Like Frankenstein, you know how he has like the boxy upper body, and then it's flat across the top. It was that with no head.
Where'd
it was
it go?
just a red socket. Like it was a toy that got its head just clipped right off.
Where did it go?
I'm sure they must have fucking ate it.
The dogs.
I think my dogs ate its fucking head.
Dude, they are some crazy little fuckers.
Dude,
I would not be surprised at all.
No wonder they were rowdy. They're like little lunatics.
You walk down to the basement and they've just got like red around their mouth.
Do I need to take them to like a doctor? I just realized that. Should I take them to a doctor or something? I don't know if you can eat a squirrel head and be okay.
I don't know.
What are those shits?
We have the internet. We could look it up.
That's a good point. I'll look it up after this. Yeah, but that freaked me out, man. It's been a weird morning. I'm off on weekends, and I had to like go into work early in the morning to try to help save the day, be the company guy, step up to the plate. You know, sometimes you got to be that guy. I'm cool with that. So I go be that guy, and then I come home and I'm cleaning and prepping my house for a bunch of shit. I find a headless squirrel. I got to work on a show, but a smart man once told me, you got to eat the elephant one bite at a time.
Oh my God, what the fuck? Did I tell you what happened to me on the plane on the way to New York?
No.
Okay, so I boarded my plane on Monday on the way to see Jawbreaker, and we get in there, we sit down, I put my headphones on, and I'm all ready to go, I'm buckled in, and we are going out to get ready to take off, and we sit out there for a few minutes, and I always do this thing on the plane where
Fart?
Yes, I always fart when I'm on the plane, and then I look around to act like I'm not the one who did it. But I always like put my head on the seat in front of me and just kind of like lean that way. I don't know why. That's just like the way I sit on the plane, I guess.
Everyone's like, check this guy out. He hates flying.
Yeah. So like I always do that. Is kind of sit forward and lean my head on the seat in front of me, and that's how I sit normally on the plane. Well, I'm doing this. I'm like looking at my phone still and trying to figure, because I had downloaded some podcasts. I think I was reading like the descriptions of them, and I like there's like some commotion that's going on. And I look up towards the middle of the plane, and there are multiple flight attendants that are standing in the middle of the plane, like talking to a group of people, right? And so I realize at this point that we're turning around and we're going back to the terminal. So we go back to the terminal and park. And at this point, I take my headphones off so I can try to figure out what's going on. Apparently, there was an altercation before we even got off the ground.
They're like, look at me. I am the captain.
Between a male and a female passenger who got into it. And what's crazy is like they argued, and I took my headphones off, and just right as I take my headphones off, who I would assume is like the lead flight attendant looks at this guy, and she goes, "Sir, your failure to follow basic instructions is getting you removed from this plane."
Jesus.
And so we go back to the terminal, and then they bring security onto the plane and have him escorted off. Then we go through this dilemma where his significant other is trying to decide whether she is going to take off without him or not.
Oh, come on.
And so it's like 10 or 15 minutes. He tells her, he was like, just go. And then he gets off the plane. 10 minutes later, she's like, can I go? So she gets off the plane. And then, so we're still just sitting at the terminal at this point, and nobody knows what the hell is going on. And then the captain comes over, and for some reason, they decided to let this asshole have his bags. So they're letting the baggers down below the plane get on to dig his bags off before we can take off.
They're like, what does it look like? Dude, it's blue. It's blue. Not that one.
I've never had
3 hours later.
I've never had. When we finally took off, there was an ovation on the plane. People were clapping and cheering. I've never had anything like that happen before in my life.
I never really had bad plane experiences until the last one. It was, my daughter was 6 months old. We're already horrified to be on the plane because we think it's going to be like she's going to do the crying thing.
Yeah.
Like she did in the restaurant. We went to a restaurant the other day and she cried and I wanted to off myself. There is nothing worse than when you like person like me who doesn't want to be like, I'm not overly trying to be noticed in public, you know.
Right.
I'm quiet. I'm a head down kind of person. I don't want to be bothered. I don't want to talk to people. And so I don't want unwanted attention at all. And then my daughter she's fidgety for some reason the other day, and oh my God, it's all this attention that I did not want. So I was terrified on this flight because I'm like, please just be good. Don't make us the people that have the fucking loud kid that everyone's like, God damn it, shut up. You know, I was really scared about that. So then everything goes perfect. She sleeps the entire time, and then we land. And then they said that because there was a lightning bolt within 45 minutes, we had to stay there for like an hour. And we're just sitting there, and she's starting to wake up and getting fidgety. And I'm like, oh no, here it fucking comes, you know? And then they started playing Sweet Caroline over the PA.
Stop.
Asking everybody to sing. Do you know how bad it is when you have your kid, you're horrified that your kid is going to cry, and it's been quiet, she's sleeping, you're just like, please, no one make any noise. And then, do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do, do-do-do. I was like, no.
When it began.
And then everyone started singing, and it was horrible. And then he would stop. He would stop and then make people do more. They'd be like, Sweet Caroline. And then they'd stop the music. And he's like, you got to do better than that, guys. So then they come back. Ba, ba, ba. Oh my God. I could have macheted every one of those pieces of shit. like I wanted to die. It was horrible. But luckily, I think she has my personality. So
There you go.
she just she was shaking her head. Just like
stop.
These fucking idiots. What's wrong with these people?
She most definitely has your personality. There's no doubt there. So let's jump into UFC 222.
What was great about UFC 22, I had a mild observation that I think everybody else did too. What I liked about this pay-per-view going in, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago, is I thought it had a lot of interesting storylines in like narratives and things that could happen and young up-and-comers before this even took place. You know, like if you pull up the card really quick, like it was, let's watch Cyborg probably massacre somebody. Ortega keeps kind of stepping up to the plate. He barely makes it almost every single time. He almost fights the level of his competition. Is Edgar going to be too much too soon, or is Ortega going to be the future? Sean O'Malley, is he biting off more he can chew, fighting a guy that has 18 pro fights while he doesn't have that many? Is he going to stay on the road that they want him to be, coming off the Contender Series, but he's a young kid. He's got a good personality. He wears this weed thing on his sleeve, kind of like a Diaz brother kind of thing. Is he going to be the future? And then Kat Zingano fighting Vieira, a young Brazilian girl. How's she going to end up looking? Mackenzie Dern making her debut at 24 years old. Dariush, who's been a perennial guy at 155 for a little while, smashing everybody, fighting Hernandez, who's a young, hungry guy who ends up being shot out of a fucking cannon in this fight. So there was a lot of those kind of stories. Like there was a lot of fun stories, kind of not all young related, but fun things that were worth questioning beforehand. A lot of questions, a lot of fun shit to follow. And I thought, as a whole, if you're looking back over the card, all the most interesting shit kind of happened.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start off with Chris Cyborg versus Yana Kunitskaya. This was so while we saw some classic Cyborg here, we saw the from the very first punch in this fight, she touches her, and really it's one of those immediate things where there's a realization of power. I think about the Eddie Alvarez Conor McGregor fight where he touches him once and he's like, oh, I underestimated
it looked different.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because Eddie almost wore that on his face.
Yeah.
When it knocked him down the first time, you could tell it. You know how some guys get kind of caught and they're just like, yeah, whatever. He almost was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like, this is not good.
Yeah, so Yana gets touched and immediately drops for an ankle pick and goes to the takedown. Really looked, she, honestly, exposed some things there, showed that, Cyborg, maybe from the ground, if we can get somebody who could,
you never know,
is an elite grappler, might be able to take care of that. Yana did a good job holding her up against the fence for a long portion of that, but unfortunately, Cyborg is just too strong, and once she got loose, I mean, the punches that she rained down on her were just too much.
Is it me? I mean, like, every punch that she was landing, when it almost took a second to register in Yana's brain.
Yeah.
Like when she would get hit with that right hand, it isn't like Yana immediately started moving or immediately like clammed up. It was almost like every one of them was a hit to the gong.
Absolutely.
Like, boom, 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 like, and it took a second for the reverb to stop and Yana to start responding again. I mean, it was bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it was horrible. It looked like every time she was hitting her, it's like she's just forgetting names and phone numbers. Like, no more calling mom anymore. What was that guy's name from high school? Not positive anymore. I mean, it was horrifying.
Yeah.
Every time she hit her, she about folded in half, and it looked terrifying. It was funny, though. It was kind of like watching when a mouse gets fed to a snake. Like, the mouse gets kind of brave every once in a while. Like, the snake goes to bite, but misses, and the mouse gets by, and it starts kind of biting at the middle of the snake. And you're like, ooh, he's getting kind of frisky, but ultimately, it's going to be and get fucking eaten.
Kill that motherfucker right now.
Who?
That little critter that's crawling in the middle of the fucking...
Where is it?
There, it's on the back of your computer. It's coming around the front. There he is.
Okay. What is that thing? Oh my god. Ah! There's a big ass spider going towards Ryan. Kill. Do you have the ability to stomp that thing? It's right there. Is he dead?
I just killed a spider with a jug of bone broth.
Yes, thank you to our sponsors. Keto Delivered.
Kettle and Fire bone broth. Great for smashing spiders.
If you guys were wanting a tightly packaged show today, we did not promise you that. Therefore, we do not feel bad.
We just killed a spider.
We had to kill a spider on air. This is the problems with being in a secret location in a pretty much cabin in the woods.
Your eyeballs when you saw that thing.
Well, it was funny because you're like, it's going up the back of the. Look, I see you can see. Do you see it in the air? There's a spider web right here on the end of my finger.
He literally dropped down Mission Impossible style.
You piece of shit. Wow, god damn. That thing was huge.
Yeah.
We were in the middle of this podcast, and all of a sudden, there's a spider running around on the soundboard, and then Ryan says, oh, it's coming around the back of your computer, and it pokes its head around like a little ninja, and then looks at me, and then starts running across the fucking table, and to be even more frank, runs over the halls. We're some coughing motherfuckers, if you haven't noticed. We're probably the only podcast that has halls sitting next to their
we need to get them to sponsor us.
Workstation.
We need a cough drop sponsor, so if you know anybody, hook it up.
So, back to it. So, Yana and Cyborg... another thing that I thought was interesting is when they said that they paid her $100K, and we talked about that last night. It was almost one of those bets that you would talk about at work. How much would it cost you to fight Mike Tyson? I mean, you know you're going to get knocked out, and I think we found probably what about that amount is.
Dude, I'd take
100K.
I'd take less than that.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
100K just to get the shit beat out of you on pay-per-view?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
Dude, I'd get dropped. Look, I can forget a couple things. I know all the words to like "Dancing Queen" by ABBA. I could forget that for
100 G's.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's worth it. On a serious note, though, isn't this getting mildly panicky with the featherweight division, though? I mean, it's like if you think about it, we have not had a 145 fight yet in the UFC. It's been only 145 featherweight title fights. There's been no 145 actual fights, and what I find. The problem is going to be is with Cyborg being so active, I mean, fighting so often, are you not just emptying the pool of everybody that she could potentially fight? I mean, like, say at one point, right, she needs to fight Megan Anderson, and then say, I don't think she needs to fight Holly or Jermaine Durandamy or anybody like that, but let's just say, okay, and then Jermaine and Amanda Nunes is in there, and the Megan Anderson. So what, we have 3 more fights, and then what? What, we're done? So shouldn't we be slow playing this a little more?
Here's my big problem with it is, with Cyborg making these title defenses in a division that doesn't really exist, what happens when she breaks the title defense record and she's taking away from... Mighty Mouse or something along those lines, or touching those. And so now you have this, you're trying to legitimize a division that doesn't even exist. Like the fact that we don't have any rankings there at all. I don't even think we have 10 fighters that fight in that division. So what are we supposed to do with this? I get wanting to hand her a belt and say, hey, this is the best female fighter that exists in the world. But do a little bit more to build a division around her. I mean, you can't tell me there aren't more women out there, even if they're not at her level, the fact that you can't find at least 10 women out there who are fighting at 145 to say, hey, these are the people who are there.
I mean, you clearly need to make like an Ultimate Fighter that's 145.
That's a perfect
that's
example. Or
all you need to do.
Create a new show for or something. You have Fight Pass, you're doing the Contender Series, you're doing the Looking for a Fight. Hey, we are looking for female 145ers.
Right.
This is what we got going on.
They got to be. They're obviously out there.
Yeah.
It's just someone needs to curate that other than Invicta.
And the fact that you're not fast tracking that to happen just seems very strange to me.
Especially now.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a super fight with Amanda Nunes, and I guess, I mean, we talk about Megan, but I don't even know why. To be honest, she doesn't have enough experience in MMA, and with on top of being inactive, I don't even see how that makes sense.
She's getting touched by other people to think that.
Right. Well, at least we know her as a 45er.
Yeah.
I think that's the kind of thing. We're just like, well, who's an actual 45er? Let's just grab who's ever left and toss them in there. To me, you need to introduce a new crowd of 45ers to the world. So it seems obvious to me that you need to maybe do like an Amanda Nunes Cyborg. No, you can't do that. Never mind. I was going to say an Amanda Nunes Cyborg Ultimate Fighter, but it would be kind of weird because they're going to fight those girls. So maybe do.
I think you
what if Joanna Jędrzejczyk wins against Rose Namajunas? So then you get Rose Namajunas versus Joanna 3. And then you do like an Ultimate Fighter, but they're teaching girls that are much bigger than them. Maybe that works. Or
I even like it.
Or a 155 thing. I don't know.
I even like it to get a title shot. Yeah, of course.
Go
through there to get the title shot, and then you get legitimate names too, to where you can say, all right, this person is fighting for a title shot, not necessarily a contract, and that allows you to be able to sign other fighters from the Ultimate Fighter as well.
Well, it's like they did with 125. I mean, but they took a lot of people from the 125 weight class that they did with the Ultimate Fighter, and they're going to make them the 125 weight class.
Absolutely.
The whole point is you just need to introduce a new crop of people. I mean, we're spitballing silly ideas now. None of these are the real answer, but the point is, I'd say the easiest route seems like the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, but I feel like we've thought this out. Even in 5 minutes, we've thought this out more than they have.
The easiest way to do it is the Ultimate Fighter.
It's like, how are people... Well, it's like they're ignoring the obvious problem, too. You don't hear anybody even... Like, I have a problem when people don't acknowledge the fact that it's an issue. You know what I mean? Like, now we're talking about Amanda... Like, we immediately go into Amanda Nunes challenging Cyborg, and we're just putting a Band-Aid on the problem.
Well, if you think about it, when you watch the post-fight press conference from last night with Dana, he immediately was like, yeah, I would like that Amanda Nunes fight. But it's like we're getting excited and acting like the natural next step is a 135er again.
Yeah.
That's really not the smart next step to take. Like, I mean, if the goal is to keep Cyborg active, that is the best situation to do. Yes, just give her another fight with another known person so you can sell the pay-per-views. I get that from a business standpoint. Understood. But in terms of let's build a 145 division to keep this thing rolling, these are all, like you said, just Band-Aids. I mean, you're not fixing anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's clearly something that needs to be fixed. Hopefully they get on it. I mean, otherwise, I just don't know what you're doing. Eventually, people are going to not care to watch this. I mean, even for us, I mean, it's eventually going to get boring. It was different with Holly, because with Holly, it was, okay, she has tools. She has some tools that, man, if she keeps distance and she can box her and not get hit too much, she may have a chance to win this fight. But everybody else, I mean, when did we ever say this might be close?
I'm already bored with it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's more of the same thing. There's only so many times that you can knock out people who are not in that division and it'd be entertaining to me.
No, you're right.
So let's move on to
the real news, right?
This is crazy. So Frankie Edgar versus Brian Ortega. Look, I could not have been more wrong on this. I told you beforehand, I thought that this was going to be Frankie Edgar showing that there are levels to this game. He was going to really bring it out there and show class up Brian Ortega. And look, I like both of these guys a lot. And so it's one of those fights where there's a bit of sadness, but also you're just really excited to see, especially a young guy come through and really have a breakout performance. This was performance of the night for him as well. And to get it done the way he did was even crazier.
The unexpected way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, Brian Ortega wins by first round KO. There's no one was calling this shot. whatsoever. I think Luke Thomas, I was listening to him talk about it. He's the inside of inside people. No one was predicting this kind of finish. It was for him to win by KO was a plus, I think a plus 1250.
Yeah.
Which is insane odds. Everyone thought if there was a way that Brian Ortega would win, it was going to be by submission. This is nowhere near Rose versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk, you know what I mean? Where they thought there was only one way she had, which was submission, and then she wins by knockout. It wasn't that drastic, but it was in this. It was in the same vein. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
It was if Brian is to win, he will win by sub. I didn't hear anybody saying he'll TKO him, not a decision. You didn't hear any of these things. You only heard by sub. And then for him to go out there, and this is another good thing too. It is a little bit different if we could say Frankie Edgar looked slow. Frankie Edgar looked like that. He looked like he had some problems. He looked like he had a problem with the distance. If you could point a bunch of things that Frankie was doing wrong to where you could take away from this win, people will do that, right? But honestly, Frankie had great distance, great head movement, was tagging Brian multiple times. It looked really, really good. Ortega looked kind of slow in certain portions, and I didn't even see him pouring on at all. I was like, whoa, he's about to just drop around, and maybe he can come back later. And when you're looking at his past performances, he keeps doing. Remember, we were talking about this even versus Cub Swanson. It was everybody he fights. In his opening fight in the UFC, it was a like doing well, doing okay, and then late finish. And then the next fight, he gets a step up in competition and is doing a little bit worse, drops around, and then ends up like finishing the second round. And then he goes 3 fights in a row where he's absolutely losing 100%, and in the third round pulls off the miracle submission. Does that 3 times in a row. Then he has to fight Cub Swanson. So we're like, okay, every time he fights up, he's barely squeaking by. This is too much too soon. Cub's going to be too much for him. He won't do that. And then what does he do? Chokes out Cub in the very first round. I mean, in the second round, right? Because he barely made it through the first. So, Second round. Man, then it's like, okay, so is he just fighting up to the competition? Like who he goes against, he just keeps stepping it up a notch. And you're wondering, and it was the same Cub Swanson theory. I was thinking, this is too much too soon. Frankie is too much. This is the line that you will not cross. And then what made it even worse, Frankie was preparing in this fight. This is all to Brian's credit. I'm spending 3 minutes of breaking this down, all just to blow Brian Ortega, because in reality, Frankie was preparing all these months for a 5-round title fight versus Max Holloway, a guy who's primarily a striker. I mean, so Frankie's stand-up should be perfect. He should be sharp. He should have great cardio. All these things. Brian, he had 3 weeks to get ready for this fight, and to come in and land. It isn't like he landed a hook. He's not landing at like your normal run-of-the-mill stuff. That stepping in elbow that just rocked Frankie. And then to have the wherewithal to stay slow. He didn't do the young guy thing of blitzkrieging, going in, throwing crazy punches. Frankie is rocked and does a thing that a lot of people do. And I thought this was very, very smart of Brian. A lot of time when guys get rocked, they just want to get hands on you. They almost do like a Frankenstein. Like they stay very like straightforward with you. So Brian lands multiple uppercuts. Though we go to the last one, that was the main one. But really, he landed 2 other uppercuts that kind of kept Frankie on the ropes. And then he like angles off to the side where Frankie stays kind of like Frankensteining off to the left. And he lands an uppercut that takes Frankie off his feet.
It was insane.
I mean, it was oh man, it was just unbelievably brutal. And just, man, it picked Frankie off the ground. I mean, literally.
Yeah.
And just dumped him like a sack of potatoes. And it only took one small little hammer fist and the ref goes in. And at first, I remember it was so fast and the camera view was behind, so you could only see Frankie's head. And I was kind of like, he probably could have taken a couple more shots. But then when you see the other view, Frankie is like looking off into outer space. He is... The ref had the right view, and it was stopped justifiably. And it was this, I feel like that's where you put the rocket pack on Brian Ortega. He has met the challenge every single time. He steps up to the plate every single time. And to go all these fights in the UFC, I think, 6 or 7 now, all finishes and against really decent talent. And how many times we've said, is this too much too soon? And he's passed with flying colors every single time. And then to choke out Cub Swanson and then to knock out Frankie Edgar. I mean, how could you be any more excited now for a Brian Ortega versus Max Holloway?
Oh, it's going to be amazing.
This whole situation, it was beautiful.
I think it's great too that you made a point that I want to make sure that we hammer home, is the fact that people, I already saw online comments last night about Frankie and Father Time and so on and so forth. And you really, if you're making those comments and you're saying those things, you really need to go back and watch this fight again, because Frankie really was his old self there. He was fast. He was landing. He was moving left and right and working his way in. He was managing the distance well. And look, it's the fight game. People get caught, and that's what happened. The unfortunate thing for Frankie is he was lined up for a title shot for this fight, and now he has lost this. And it's a bummer for him, because he's a mainstay guy. He comes from a great camp, and somebody you root for and you like the guy. So in one sense, you got to be you're upset about that, but at the same time, to have young talent moving in is something I get so excited about. And really, these last like two or three cards, it's something that's really been big for me. And the next fight will be another one we talk about with that. But with the Adesanya, and then with Brian Ortega's of the world and the Sean O'Malley's of the world, I mean, it is an exciting time to be an MMA fan. I mean, it's going to be, these next few years, we're going to have some people come up, and I feel like this really last night seemed to me like we're in the middle of like a changing of the guard. And it feels like the old style of MMA, everything is getting a fresh new look.
Right.
And that's kind of where we're heading now. And it's really exciting to see these guys who have started training as actual mixed martial artists and not started as a specialist. And we're working into a whole new genre of fighters.
Well, that's also what that brings up a good point, because where you're saying it's exciting, it's funny because if you listen to other people, they would say that, the UFC's in trouble and where are the stars and all these kind of things. And it's like, I feel like MMA is what you want, whatever you make it to be. If you want to think about it from a company view, like you somehow work for the UFC and you're like worried about selling pay-per-views, that's not really our job, is it? I mean,
No.
To me, it is enjoying fights. I enjoy fights. I love watching matchups. I like seeing fighters that go from unknown to being superstars, or unknown to being title contenders, or unknown to becoming champions. That, to me, I love watching that journey of different people. And then when Ortega loses one day, how's he going to bounce back? Is this Ortega becoming a legend one day? Frankie Edgar did this kind of thing back in the day, too. When Sean Shirk was a mainstay and all of a sudden Frankie beat him, and everyone goes, Frankie who? Who the fuck is Frankie? When Frankie got a title shot against BJ Penn in Abu Dhabi, it was off of a fighter that no one even knew who the hell he was. And everyone's like, does he deserve this? This is bullshit. And then now look, though. He beats BJ Penn by decision, mildly controversial at the time. And then now look at who Frankie is. Frankie now is a legend, will go to the UFC Hall of Fame 100%, and was just getting ready to fight for a title again. For all we know, we could be watching a guy that is going to be in the UFC Hall of Fame in the next 10 years for all we know.
Yeah.
And it's like, MMA is what you make of it. If you want to enjoy it and just enjoy the product and have fun with it, it'll give you everything you want right now.
Right.
155 with Tony versus Khabib, and then you got Tyron Woodley out there, and Israel Adesanya, and O'Malley and Ortega coming up, and the other guy that was on the card that we'll end up talking about at one point, but Alexander Hernandez, what he just did. I mean, there's a lot of, and we're talking, lately type shit, but there's a lot of people out there bringing a lot of excitement. You still have a lot of the fun names that are still there. I like it because you still have the transition going on. So you still have the guys that you do like, that you love from the old school, and you're getting the new blood injected. I actually think it's kind of a perfect time right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it, like, from a consumer point of view, I love it. But bring it back to Ortega and Frankie, to me, like this win was like I said, strap a rocket ship on him, and it's time to send him to the fucking moon.
And based on the post-fight press conference last night, it looks like we're kind of looking towards 226 maybe as initial title fight. That's when Max Holloway tweeted out last night looking for that. and Dana was kind of like, well, we'll see where Max is at. But to kind of have a timeline maybe for middle of the summer to potentially have that title fight going down. And while they haven't officially announced it yet, Dana all but confirmed it last night. With it sounds like that's what's coming up next.
Well, what's good is that fight got a lot more steam now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, before it was kind of going off of Frankie's name. I mean, you got to think of who Frankie was fighting last. Like Yair Rodriguez, I think, was his last fight before this title fight. And there's been injuries and everything. The hardcores, yeah, we look at Frankie versus Max Holloway as, wow, this is going to be a lot of fun. But in reality, it's mainly off of Frankie's name, where Brian is coming into this fight with hype.
Yeah,
straight
absolutely.
hype. Not Frankie winning a year ago off of Yair Rodriguez does not really go into a fight with hype. Let's be serious. Where now Ortega's coming in there and everyone's going to be interested.
Yeah,
this is a guy who clearly keeps rising to the occasion every single time he fights. And you have Max Holloway, who's somehow on like a 10-fight win streak at 145, fighting everybody and the hardest matchups out there, which is remarkable in itself. And off of 2 fresh TKO wins of Jose Aldo, and those two are going to clash at the same time. I mean, it couldn't be an any more exciting matchup for 145.
Yeah,
this is perfect.
Storylines naturally build themselves like that. That's when you get the best fights. It's just gonna be a great fight in general.
From a timeline in history, this is some of the best 145 matchups, because for a long time Jose was a mild, I don't want to say cyborg, but it was close on is there enough talent at 145 to make these fun? Chad Mendez and other guys were close, and those were fun fights, and was like people thought Chad could win at the time, where at one point though he's fighting Hominick and Korean Zombie and guys where we're like, these are title fights, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when it comes to 145 title fights, this is going to be up there. I mean, this is going to be one in terms of matchups and how excited everybody is and who could win. This is going to be one of the best 145 championship fights ever, probably, honestly.
All right, so let's talk about an absolutely amazing fight. This was fight of the night. So Sean O'Malley versus Andre Sukumtoth. This was an absolutely incredible fight. This was my first time watching O'Malley. I hadn't seen him before then.
Yeah,
I'd obviously watched the countdown and everything and saw some of that there, but really impressed with his stand up. Obviously, loved how creative he was.
Yeah,
and
he's a switching stances dude, man.
He has just a presence about him, and I got to tell you, so. For the way this went down, and as great as it would have been for him to finish, I think this was absolutely perfect.
I totally agree.
The way, so what the thing is, when you have a fighter, right, and you're building a storyline, a finish is a finish, right, and finishes can speak for themselves. But what happened last night could not have been more perfect for building a unique fighter and making somebody memorable. He's already a charismatic guy, but to break your foot or whatever he had happen at the end of the fight. We
Clearly
don't know.
An injury that's got a guy screaming and falling down in pain. So whether it's broken or not, he clearly would have. There's a lot of people that stop.
So regardless, I mean, he finishes the third round on the ground. He still looks pretty good from the ground. He's recovering guard. He's protecting himself. He's doing all the things that he could do. But the best part about this is, first of all, Sukumtoth saw it. Acting like he won the fight was just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, that was mind blowing.
And then, so he can't stand up to come over to get his hand raised. So they decide that Rogan goes over and interviews him on his knees while he's laying on the ground with the doctors touching his feet, and he is obviously in agonizing pain, but manages to go through the interview,
promos,
dude. And the one point when he goes, "And I fucking love you, Joe Rogan," and Rogan goes,
he's like, "I fucking love you too, buddy."
That was awesome. So, and it's just, to me, I was like, it's the same thing with the Adesanya thing. It's the first time you're really seeing the guy on the main stage, and when they just drop like a bomb, that's a nugget that you're going to remember. Like, I will never forget this guy because of that.
Right.
And so not only does he have the skills to stand up there and bring something exciting to the table, but that charismatic portion that he brings to the fight game is just that you can't say enough about that.
Right.
And that the way that this started out, his on the main event or on the main card rather, and he's coming through interview on your knee or while you're on your back with Rogan. That to me, it could not have been more perfect.
Well, and to tell the story of the fight too. Remember, you're in the even first round wise, he's switching stances. He's landing every kick you've ever seen in your life. Inside, outside, on the lead leg. He's doing spinning kicks. He's switching stances, hitting the other side of kicks.
It was like Mortal Kombat.
There was a point in time where, remember, he landed the kick and made Sukumtov fall down. And then that's the thing is it showed a crazy amount of fighter IQ. I wrote down at one point he has insane poise. Like he does not rush. That is the thing about these young fighters. It's like they've learned these things over time. Do not rush in. Do not get crazy. Israel Adesanya did the exact same thing.
Absolutely.
Brian Ortega did the exact same thing. Sean O'Malley, the exact same thing. It's like they're hurting people and then chilling out. They don't need to rush in and make bad decisions.
You made the point on that kick last night. You said it while we were watching the fights. You said, look, he just hurt him to the leg and didn't go back to it for another 3 minutes.
Right. I thought that was incredibly interesting. To me, how many other guys, though, would keep going back to the well over and over and over, and all of a sudden you get it checked and then hurt your own, whatever it is. He did not go back because you'll become predictable. And his style, you can tell Sean O'Malley's style, he likes to be unpredictable. So you're not going to, just because I hurt you there, now I'm going to stop? He immediately threw a high kick and about nailed him with the high kick.
Right.
So I love the fact that he was mixing it up. He throws in spinning attacks, straight line attacks, coming from the outside attacks, inside attacks. It was really beautiful stand up. It looked awesome and it was fun to watch, really fun to watch. And he has that nonchalant style. You could tell he just doesn't really give a shit, and that's fun to watch. Second round, it's like you got to see him. He maybe needs a little bit more takedown defense, but even when he went to the ground, what happened? Immediately goes for the triangle. He almost finishes with the triangle because Andre almost went the wrong direction and gave the worst angle possible. It was crazy. If anything, you've learned in this that Andre Sukumtov's fight IQ is really low. Unfortunately,
Absolutely.
I mean, to have as many fights as he does, he made a lot of crazy decisions. I mean, at the end being one huge one, all of a sudden Sean O'Malley is, limping around the place and you stay on the ground with him. Are you nuts? If there's any more time to stand up and go back to the well over and over, the guy is standing up on and hopping on one leg. Chop the leg until he just keeps falling down, and they'll probably TKO the fight.
Well, and the best part is, too, the one time that O'Malley did get up, he stayed in such close range that he landed a spinning back elbow that almost knocked him out.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
I mean, it was nuts. So then when he was on the ground, he missed the triangle. Usually when you miss a triangle, you get far collar passed. So he got passed. And even when he got passed, though, then he threatened him with a guillotine, which ended up getting him back on top. And then he stood back up. It's like he clearly is a guy that's going to grow and learn and keep getting better. But if you look at just his base level of skill sets, man, he's a lot of fun to watch. And it's also great what they're doing with some of these people is with Sean O'Malley, they're almost doing what they did with a Sage Northcutt in the way of building him up off of people you never heard of. Because even if he loses, you're almost we just like watching this guy grow. You can, it's weird, but you can throw Northcutt on a main card, Paige Van Zandt on a main card, Sean O'Malley on a main card. You can watch these people because it's we clearly understand what the UFC is doing because we know how the pudding is made. We've seen behind the curtain. We know what they're doing. You want us to get on this guy's bandwagon, and we're pretty much watching him progress.
Yeah.
We don't need to see him against top 10 people right now. None of that really matters. We're just going to watch them grow against UFC caliber fighters, and we're just kind of strapped in and watching this guy's story. And I got to admit, I find it interesting.
Absolutely.
I think it's kind of fun because even a guy like Sage, he loses, and we still watch. Because we're interested. I want to watch he came in from a very young age, and it's how's he going to progress? I don't know. It's fun.
Well, it's like you said, too, you're so much more forgiving because they are so young.
Yeah.
Because how many fighters that, are big names now had early losses in their career? It's not that big a deal.
Right.
But that's when that somebody grows and you get to know them and they learn from that loss. And that's the progression. these guys are so young that every fight you're
Oh,
seeing
yeah.
nuggets being
Huge.
added.
Yeah.
So that's what's so interesting about it is, okay, what did this person add from last fight to this one? And I'm super excited. I think we got some big names right now that are going to be a big deal.
So then Sean O'Malley throws. It looked like he was going for a head kick, and it looks like it might have like banged right off the elbow.
Yeah.
And it's probably what probably hurt his foot, I would imagine. So then he can't walk on the foot. I mean, it goes up in the air. He can't do anything, and falls and can't stand on the damn thing. And then at one point they're coming in to try to save him, and the ref is like, "Are you done? Are you okay?" And he said something like, "I don't tap."
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it goes back to the very beginning thing, and this will go full circle. We'll be off of this, but it was like you said, it almost was better that it went this way than a stoppage. A stoppage would have been cool, but this almost added to like this weird folklore of this guy. You're gonna remember this now when he was on the Contender Series and he knocked a dude dead. With a bunch of different things. I mean, he almost has the guy knocked out several different ways, and then flying knees him and KO. You know, that was crazy enough. And then he's smoking weed with Snoop Dogg, and then he gets a face tattoo of a star and says it's because I'm a star.
Yeah.
You know, like he's got a hilarious personality. He's a I shouldn't say little. He's a tall, skinny, Jewish-looking kid who's got a huge fro on him. He's wearing weed T-shirts in the interviews a couple days before. And then he gets in a fight where his style is fun. He shows all these different tools, damn near breaks his own foot, can't walk, continues the fight anyway, and still wins a fight, and then rips a promo at the end. I mean, it just added to this guy. What other person with 2 fights in who wasn't big in jiu-jitsu or big in kickboxing, you know, coming off of a Contender Series, I mean, to be 2 fights in, I think people are going to be really interested in this guy, and it's going to be fun to watch.
Absolutely. All right, so the next fight that we're going to talk about is going to be Andrei Arlovski versus Stefan Struve. I will tell you, there are going to be people out there who did not like this fight. I guarantee it, because they're going to think this is boring. But for me, this is one of the more interesting fights on this card.
Totally.
To see Arlovski reinvent himself at the end of his career, because it's, you know, we have all these guys who say, hey, I want to be a champion. I want to be a champion. As an older guy, they say, I want to make another run at the championship. But it's the same old bag of tricks that they're bringing into the octagon every time. To see somebody actually go and reinvent themselves, especially a guy who is having trouble with his chin and struggling to change his style to keep himself more safe and actually give him a shot at running at the title.
Right.
I think it's an absolutely amazing move. I loved watching him. We had the Anik drop the stat last night that he landed more takedowns in one round than he did
in an 18-year career.
Yeah.
He had 3 takedowns in 18 years, and he landed 4 in one fight.
And they were beautiful.
Really good.
They were set up well.
It looked like he had been doing that forever.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
It's like he's a guy that was considered like a Sambo guy a long time ago. Remember, he leg locked Tim Sylvia back in the day. And it looked like he was a guy that probably had that in him, but never really went back to that well. I mean, they talked about it. He clearly probably had this skill set, but never really used it. It looked so unbelievably natural that it was weird. I was like, these trips were incredible. His clinch was amazing. He looked very, very good. His hands looked still just as fast. I don't know how the guy is almost 40 years old, and he still looks fast as hell. He slowed down a little bit, but he looks fast. His head movement looks really good. His clinching was great. His takedowns were varied and great looking. The inside leg kicks were disgusting.
Oh, yeah.
Disgusting. I mean, it made Stefan Struve's leg look like a patty of ground beef. It was gross. Yeah. I mean, he looked fucked up.
And he had the streak of gray in his beard, which was just perfect.
Yeah.
If you if that's all you've got there, you should be like mildly like just fermenting some gray into that beard.
It'd be easy to take care of that.
You've got the old man Logan thing going on, and you need to embrace that.
Yeah, he liked it.
It's a good look.
That's an easy fix, and he clearly was like, fuck it.
Yeah. And also, my hatred for Stefan Struve grew even more in this fight. Is that when you're getting beat up and you're getting taken down repeatedly, and not to mention the fact that you have poked Arlovsky in the eyes multiple times.
Oh, it was like the most fouls I've ever seen in a heavyweight fight.
And so then Arlovsky takes you down, and you have his head wrapped into you have his him headlocked, and he's punching you in the back, trying to just make something happen, and you're complaining to the ref that he's punching you in the spine and this and that.
Right.
I just could not hate this guy anymore. He is so annoying to me. You never know which version of him is going to show up, and it's like I just cannot stand this guy. But on the flip side of that, it makes me like Arlovsky even more, because to bring him in and just have this no nonsense guy in there who was like, he seemed extremely annoyed with the entire thing.
Yeah, he did.
Which to me is like,
even in the interviews,
it's so laughable. Like to me that is more endearing to me. So like I wish that for me to have the takedowns and such there, and for him to fight the way he did against Struve when Struve was acting that way, I was just like, oh, this is great. I absolutely love this.
So let's go to some of the other young guns quickly. Caitlin Vieira versus Kat Zingano. Kat Zingano's been off for I think a year and a half since UFC 200. Comes back and really gets handled. Unfortunately, I really wanted to see. I really thought the move was probably going to be if Kat came back and won, they would eventually probably bring her up to Cyborg or have her fight like a Megan Anderson to get Megan some credibility or something like that. But once again, they kind of dash that. But another young gun coming up though. Vieira is looking like a monster. She's got a bunch of big wins. She's got a win over Sarah McMahon and now Kat Zingano. I don't know if she necessarily deserves a title shot like she was asking for, because you have Raquel Pennington out there. But it's kind of, how the UFC is sometimes. It's what have you done for me lately? So maybe she could. Maybe she fights Raquel Pennington while Amanda Nunes fights Cyborg or something like that. You can have a nice little eliminator there. Also on the card, Mackenzie Dern finally making her UFC debut against Ashley Yoder. Man, I tell you where I saw something with Mackenzie was something that was improved, and I got to give her credit for, was the clinching the knees.
Yeah.
Her clinch knees are really, really good.
Absolutely.
I mean, she was landing heavy knees, a lot of them too. It was kind of nuts, and she can do that with a little bit more reckless abandon than some people, because if Ashley Yoder was to grab her legs and take her down, Mackenzie would oblige and not really care,
Right.
So she was just throwing knees nonstop. But on the flip side, her stand up, as to me, much of the same.
She gets sucked into firefights,
man,
and
she does,
and she comes forward, and it was better. It's gotten better in her last few fights where she's doing it less and less. But it's like at some point she gets sucked into that brawler mentality and wants to like rush forward. All it's going to take is somebody with a little bit of power to touch her up, and it's going to be
when
bad.
she got tagged already. And if there was a sketchy moment in that fight. Where it was like,
Yeah.
But Mackenzie Dern ends up winning a split decision somehow.
Yeah.
They gave it to Ashley Yoder, and of course it was Adelaide Byrd who gave that weird decision. And if you don't remember Adelaide Byrd, she was the one who somehow had the worst scorecard in the world with Triple G and Canelo, which is kind of what caused that big fiasco, and everyone was in an uproar, and somehow she's back and gives us much more weird decisions.
Well, we had 5 split decisions on this card.
Yeah, it was
so
nuts.
and that's what's the cause of it. There were a couple really questionable ones.
With Mackenzie, though, it was funny, even listening to Ariel Helwani afterwards, the last fight in Invicta, he was going for the... she's looking better, and everyone's saying she's going to get killed in the UFC, and you don't know, she's getting better, and her striking looks more crisp and everything. And it was finally good to see him last night go, man, isn't she a little too wild? She's probably going to pay for that, right? One day. You can tell he's finally like pumping the brakes a little bit. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, she is begging with those firefights to get knocked out by anybody top 10. I'm telling you, those girls just have too good of stand-up at 115, especially top 10. I mean, there is no real bad striker at 115. I mean, any of those girls will touch you and piece you up. Karolina Kowalkiewicz, the other Polish fighter. I mean, even a girl like her who doesn't hit that hard, the precision of her she would piece her up. It would look terrible. And a girl nowadays that's even lower in the ranks because she's lost a little bit, but like Karate Hottie, Michelle Watterson. There's so many people, way more than that. I'm not touching the obvious. I'm talking about the girls in the 7, 8, 9 type rankings. Let's not even talk about top 5 that would just brutalize her. It's just, to me, I can't get on this hype train yet. I really can't, because even with her getting her on the ground, she didn't. Not saying that she didn't control it or look good, but with MMA gloves and all that, I feel like it always kind of euthanizes jiu-jitsu people a little bit. Like, you have those couple standout people who can still do what they want, a Damian Maia, but it's different. It really is different. I feel like it's going to be really hard for her to be jiu-jitsu girl. I really do. I think that people are going to, her stand-up looks better, but her takedowns don't really look better at all, and that's going to be the vehicle for her to get to the ground. So I just picture people keeping her standing and eventually beating her up. I mean, it's so clear what you need to do with Mackenzie Dern. Stay off the ground.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stay off the ground. Avoid the takedowns. She's going at everybody with pretty normal takedowns. And I think people are going to keep her standing up, probably batter her to a decision. And if she touches anybody in top 10, I think they keep her standing until they KO her. I'm not ready to jump on this hype train yet. Maybe she'll prove everybody wrong, but I'm not on the board yet.
All right, so let's talk about Beneil Dariush versus Alexander Hernandez. This one starts out really crazy.
Holy moly.
They come out to touch hands, and he hits him with a front kick to the chest, and that's just kind of set the tone.
He didn't stick his hand out.
No, it set the tone for the fight, and it really...
Beneil never caught up after that.
I told you last night, I felt like he was rattled after that. To me, there was something that he seemed off after that, and Hernandez continued to put the pressure on him until... It was too much, and he put him out. So.
I don't know I don't remember who said it, but they said that Alexander Hernandez was shot out of a cannon. I mean, that is the best way to describe it.
Absolutely.
Because he came out there and no touch of gloves, throws a front this is Sparta type kick right to the belly of Beneil Dariush, and Dariush never comes back. Dariush has huge wins at 155, and at one point he was marching his way through the rankings, and honestly, Hernandez made it look easy. He battered him and then put him away. And I mean, out cold, dirty KO. I mean, it was brutal. And then, and that guy is bodied up, man. That guy is he's a specimen. He's in freak shape. And to take this fight on like a week notice, and he looks like that, that's how that guy walks around looking like? Jesus. I mean, that guy, I'm
terrifying.
I'm interested to see what Alexander Hernandez has to bring. I don't know what camp he's from. I don't know anything about him yet, but I'm excited to see what he does, because he came out, I think, where's Beneil Dariush? He might be like a number 12, number 13 kind of guy.
He was high, a little like right outside top 10, I believe.
So it's going to be really interesting to see what Hernandez does from here, because it's almost one of those things where, are they going to give him like, well, you're off to the races? Like, you beat a guy like Dariush. I'm sorry to say, but knocking out Dariush, I hope that's not the kiss of death, because you came out beating such a good guy. Is this going to be like a Josh Emmett? You beat a top guy, so now you got to fight, just killers like Jeremy Stevens and other people. So now who do you fight? If you come out the gate knocking out Beneil Dariush, well, I'm sorry to say, there's only like top 10 guys left at 55. So who do you randomly feed him to? That's going to be crazy. It's going to be interesting. What if all of a sudden he just starts murdering people and goes Ortega on this shit?
It's going to be
That's
interesting.
why this card was fun, man.
Yeah.
It was fun for this reason, because it answered a lot of questions, but it also brought up new ones that you're interested in seeing. Sometimes the result is like a Cyborg kind of thing. Okay, we saw it. Now, whatever. A lot of these I walk away, man, I'm kind of interested in what happens next. Now when somebody announces who Alexander Hernandez is fighting next, I'm going to be into it.
Yeah,
I'm like, shit, I remember what he did to Dariush. What's he going to do with Michael Vick or something like that? It's going to be exciting.
All right, so let's talk about this. Is going to be one that we're going to talk about a lot this week. It's going to be all over the place.
Yeah, of course.
And I've already seen mixed opinions on this. So CB Dollaway versus Hector Lombard. So this is an interesting one, because I feel like there are a lot of people who are remembering this incorrectly, and we watched this multiple times to make sure that we had this correct. But I've seen a lot of people online already saying, oh, well, the combination was started before the bell rang, and so on and so forth. You are incorrect. because we watched this multiple times. Because at first, when you see it without the sound, hear it without the sound, you think it's not that egregious. When you're seeing,
because you're looking at like the ref,
yes,
but he yells,
yes,
it's like you hear the bell and then you hear him say stop. Granted, these things are all a half a second on top of each other, but it is not the ref's job to like shove you apart. When he goes stop and then you fire off a 1-2, even if you would have landed the jab to then go through with the next punch with the hook, I mean, that is egregious.
Yeah.
That was the part that was going too far. It's like in jiu-jitsu, we'll be training, and you could be right on someone's back, getting ready to, or say it's an arm bar, you got the arm bar, you're getting ready to extend it, and the bell goes off, but you're like, oh, I'm right there. But you just let go.
Yeah.
No matter where you don't keep the back, you don't keep the arm bar, whatever you are, you don't keep it and have that, like, ego, you know what I mean? It's like, you gotta stop. He landed the one, and it was like, no, I'm going to keep going. You could tell it was like a shithead move. And it comes from a guy who's done little things here and there that were kind of dirty. So to me, you watch the video and it couldn't be more obvious. And I'm confused about people's view on this too, because they don't want to like lynch him over this, you know what I mean? Like at all. But it's weird because they wanted to go after Jermaine Duranamy when this happened with Holly. Like, she did the same thing.
Yeah.
Bell goes off, lands a 1-2, and rocks Holly, and they didn't take a point. They didn't do anything about it, and people were up in arms. You can't hear people nowadays talk about the loss of Holly Holm to Jermaine without mentioning that happening all the time. And they will say that she arguably won that fight somehow. I mean, which is ridiculous. She lost damn near every second of that fight. But they always bring back the fact that Jermaine threw shots after the bell. Hector did the exact same thing. And when a foul like that happens, and you got to refer to how hurt the guy is. And it's like, and if the doctor says he's not good to go, or he says that he can't go and it was off an illegal shot, then I don't know the semantics of that portion. Either it becomes a no contest or a DQ. I'm not sure. But it seems like it would be a DQ.
Absolutely.
I mean, when you're intentionally doing something illegal and that's what ends the fight, that seems like that should be a DQ. With the Jeremy Stevens thing, because I'm sure people are going to make that correlation. With Jeremy Stevens, the knee is not what is ending the fight. It isn't like it got buried in Emmett's face and that's what stopped everything, This illegal shot is clearly what caused this big hoopla.
Well, and it's one thing to just land the jab too, but when you follow it with the next punch, it's like you can't at that point you can't make any argument against whether it's illegal or not. And the people who are making the argument, well, he started the combination. Well, what if he goes cowboy and he puts 5 pieces into the combination?
Right.
You just get to throw you get to throw 5 punches after the bell.
Yeah,
Come
when
on.
does that end?
A combination means multiple punches. It doesn't mean 1-2. It means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right.
A combination doesn't have to be 2. So to say that he started the combination and that's what keeps it from being illegal, that's ridiculous. He started the combination after the bell anyway. So if you throw just the jab, that's one thing. But to throw a 1-2 after the bell, to me, there's no argument with that at all. It's just that's the way it is.
Yeah, I thought it made sense to DQ him. I'm sure we'll hear more about that this week. But all in all, I thought the card was a lot of fun. Got a lot of questions answered. Got a lot of new prospects coming up. All in all, it was really fun.
So let's talk a little bit about John Jones. We don't want to spend too much time on this because it's more of the same thing.
It's not really done either.
Yeah. So the California State Athletic Commission officially revoked John Jones' license this week and fined him $205,000 after a hearing on Tuesday. The important pieces to this is that, we had a lot of weird things that happened with this, with him taking the lie detector test and so on and so forth. But the interesting part of this is that none of the supplements that John Jones had tested came back positive for turinabol, which was what he was caught with during his. So he had 15 supplements tested plus massage creams, and none were contaminated with the steroid.
Right.
So that makes sense why he took the lie detector test in the first place, to try and create some kind of argument there. So really, we're going to see more come to light with this situation, but this is just basically the next page in the book for this. So,
it was like the one thing that you got out of California, though. There's two things, like they did take the maximum penalty monetarily, and so money wise, they fined him as much as possible. Of course, they're like, you did something wrong under our jurisdiction, so we get money from you. That makes a lot of sense. So they get their money, but when it comes to giving you a suspension, they don't give a suspension. They say your license is revoked, and they say that it's up to the USADA proceeding to the hearing with USADA is when that will be up. So it's like all you did was, okay, we are ready to take your money, but when it comes to how much you're suspended, we're going to go ahead and kick the can.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
That $205,000.
USADA can figure that out, but we want our money.
Yeah, that's a bonus for them.
That's exactly what happened. So
where do you think that money goes? Probably in those guys' pockets.
So really, you did nothing to them, nothing to John, other than take his money.
Yeah.
And then Andy Foster almost like mildly try to save face, like while he's talking on behalf of California, is like he says, "I believe you." Why in the world do you believe him? He couldn't prove that any of his stuff was tainted. He's done this before. He's been drunk or whatever and hit women and found drugs and money and done coke and failed drug tests before and now this, and he's like, I believe him. It's like if you do believe him, then you're like,
you're
okay,
a fool.
I believe you. You may not be a cheater, but you're quite possibly just an idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, you might as well have said that then.
Yeah.
Because if you don't think he's intentionally taken that, it's like, then how many times can you keep like testing positive for shit, dude? Like you clearly have questionable judgment. And I always come back to the same thing, and I never hear people say this. Tell me the day when someone says that they talked to USADA and they took something that was approved and then failed. Look at how many supplements he said he had taken. 15 things were tested. That's how many supplements you're taking? 15? And then clearly maybe more because you didn't find the one that was tainted. You're taking 15 supplements. Well, how many of those are on the USADA thing that say these are good to go? Like I said, you'll never hear those guys come up with that defense. Have you ever heard it one time? How many guys we've seen fail? 50 people fail. No one time has ever said, hey, I took the stuff that they said was approved and I failed. This is bullshit. You never heard it once. And so in a way, it's like they're hoping for a slap on the wrist. I mean, you're doing something going, hey, it might be tainted and I'll take the benefits from it. And then if I get caught, hey, I didn't know. I didn't do this on purpose. How many times can you shrug your shoulders and be like, I didn't do it on purpose? Well, then you're just a fucking idiot and you're going to get suspended for that too then.
Yeah.
We're just going to suspend you 2 more years for being an idiot. For not doing the right thing, you're a jackass and now you're suspended. I mean, it's like, it's silly. And it's going to be interesting to see how USADA acts with all this because they're mildly in bed with UFC, and it's like if with this being like the year that they're renegotiating with Fox and just TV deals in general, and Amazon is out there and all these things, it's going to be interesting because no one's really wanting to put the kibosh on John Jones, but you also can't let him skate.
Yeah.
But for the company, the best thing would be to let him get off with a year, and then he'd be available to come back in August. Then all is rosy. But it seems silly to me to let that happen though, because if they do that, everyone will see that, everyone will be watching, and everyone will know why that happened. And I'm telling you, that will be picked apart by everybody. You will have every news outlet, everybody else got 2 years. This person got 3 years. This person got this. This is his second offense. Couldn't prove anything. Had no defense in court at all. Looked silly in court. If anything, came off like he's still a dork who doesn't want to learn anything. All these things, and you only give him a year. That's going to look really, really bad.
Well, as big as I think fighters' rights are and things like that, on the flip side of the coin, I also think that we got to stop letting fighters be bigger than the organization.
Yeah.
The John Jones and the Conor McGregors of the world who we act like that the UFC can't continue on without them. That's because that's what it feels like at points.
Right.
And so you really need to understand, sometimes you have to cut your losses and say, that John Jones' views don't match that of the UFC's, so unfortunately he can no longer fight for us.
And don't get me wrong, this is probably the hardest I've ever talked about John Jones ever. Because I am a fan. I want to keep getting over it because I want to watch John Jones. I'm not a person who's worried about drug use in the UFC. I wish we went back to the old school way of doing it, to where fighters could, if they're taking supplements that are helping them stay healthy and they're not taking as much damage and not getting surgery and all these and they can perform at a higher level for longer to make a living in a sport that is hard to make a lot of money. I'm all for it. Like, I don't care. My thing is when someone just acts so irresponsible when they have so much, it's almost frustrating. Almost like how Misha Tate is talking about it. You know, to me, it's frustrating. You got a guy that has the world by the balls and just can't keep it together. It's just frustrating to see because there are people out there that don't have that would never make those bad decisions. And unfortunately, you got this guy that has the world by the balls and can't keep it together. It's sad and it's frustrating. It's like, fuck. It's just like McGregor, John Joe, any of these guys. We just want you to come back and be what you were. Yeah. Be fighters. But you keep doing things to stop us from getting what we want.
Wait, the fans are giving you so many chances and you just can't take advantage.
Yeah, so hopefully he can pull it together. I really hope he does because I miss John Jones fighting. I mean, without him, 205 is mildly boring.
All right, let's do a couple quick hits here. So Dana White came out this week saying that the chances of Brock Lesnar returning this year are very, very, very good.
Right, it's 3 varies. I wouldn't have believed, if he would have said very good, I'd be like, this is just a blip on the radar. But very, very, I would be like, ooh, this is getting a little closer. Well, when he said very, very, very good, I was like, oh shit, he's back.
So he's looking, obviously we would have 6 months that we would have to wait for Brock to serve his suspension.
Off the sauce?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. He'd have to serve a 6-month suspension, but we were talking before the show that this is a potential thing to continue to solidify that TV deal, obviously, and that's what we're looking at there. So.
Yeah, even if John got 2 years, 1 year is up in August, and then it'd be 2 years next August, and then say Brock Lesnar has a 6-month thing, then you could almost sell it to Fox, like, hey, Brock's gonna be fighting next year. McGregor is back. Diaz is back. John and Brock, you could fight each other. You know what I mean? You could at least hype things up and say that there's a lot going on. Where right now, can you imagine it Brockless, John Jonesless?
Yeah.
It would be, and then McGregor, no future in sight. Diaz, not sure what the hell's going on. It's weird how 4 guys can either make the UFC look like it's about to get moving again or look like it's going to be kind of slow from a business perspective.
And one other key point on this, too, is that Brock Lesnar's contract with the WWE ends at the end of summer.
Oh, summer. I thought it was April.
End of summer is what this article is saying.
Okay, so, interesting. Cool.
Yep. So, quick point there. And then, so Ronda Rousey this week at Elimination Chamber, she, quote-unquote, signed her contract.
Right.
If you're a WWE fan, you know how this works. They come out, they set up a table, they put a tablecloth on it, they put the black over the ring to make it look nice and official. They bring them out to sign the contract. It's always to create drama. And so we had some drama that happened this week with the fighting at Elimination Chamber. So let's look at this video.
Ronda's got an A+ mean mug. Oh, son. Slams Triple H right through the table.
Yeah. So we had...
Look at... No, this is the best part, dude. Did you watch this?
Yeah.
Stephanie McMahon slaps the piss out of Ronda Rousey.
Yes, she does.
Ooh, dude, that was
Dear
loud,
Lord.
son.
Yeah.
That was loud. I wonder what she says to her right there. I take that, little bitch.
I don't know why we only have this in one earphone, but...
It's fine. She is so much Vince.
Oh, I know.
Right? I mean, she is a little Vince. Talks just like him.
Yeah.
Makes the mouth just like Vince. Oh, God, it's creepy. Look at Ronda's scowl. That is an A+ scowl.
She looks so pissed. But this is the Ronda we need, though.
That's what it should have been.
Yeah. No smiles. You got to be that person. And then she picks up the contract after this.
Here's my contract that in 68 font says Ronda Rousey.
And she's just signing the front of the paper. There's no line there. It just says her name on the paper.
That means I'm signed up.
There you go. Throws it on top of Triple H, and then we go from there.
And walks away. Wow. Coming out with a boom. Were people hype about it?
From what I can tell, yeah.
I'm not hip.
I saw it. I saw it on a lot of places online. What I find very interesting is that most of the places I've seen it online has been posted by MMA pages, not so much wrestling pages, but more MMA pages. So it makes me think that the MMA crowd is behind this right now. So we'll see how this goes.
It's funny though, because a lot of outlets will act like they are not into it.
Yeah,
it's like they're not into it, yet you cover every tiny little thing she does.
Yeah,
I'm interested in it.
Yeah, me too.
I knew who she was obviously in MMA. I followed everything she was doing in MMA, so I'm kind of already attached enough to where I'm interested in whatever she does.
I agree. So the next one,
I sent you this. I know we don't usually go over hockey fights or anything. Check out this counterpunch power from this hockey fighter. I'm serious. It is no joke.
So this is from.
It is quick. It gets to it really fast.
It's a minor league hockey game.
Tanner Nagel versus Colton Keller.
It's at 42 now.
Yo, wait till you see this shit.
This season, of course, missed a bunch of time.
You see the gloves come off like really soon. He's kind of like, well, come on, bitch. Watch, you'll see the gloves come off first. He's like, yeah, come on over. Look, there go the gloves.
We got a scrap here.
Yeah, let's go, bitch.
And a long lead up to this one.
Look at this. Watch this, dude. Look at that hand movement. Boom!
Oh my God.
Face plant. Look, he went off. That is like when people run around the cage.
Keller just landed the
he jacks him. It wasn't a left hook. It was a left straight. Go back.
Dude, I love
Go back.
that he went. I love that he went straight to the penalty box. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah, he knew. You see him, dude. He wiped his hand. I mean, that's how hard he hit that motherfucker. Dude, look at his hand movement. Boom!
Oh my!
God damn, son.
Oh my!
I mean, face planted him.
He drops the helmet, take his mouthpiece out, wipes the hand.
He checked his hand. He's like, God damn, that hurt.
Fuck,
dude. One more time, please. I'm so sorry.
Oh my!
It is. Tell me that is not. Unbelievable. Do you see his hands?
The best hockey fight of all time.
Look at that hand fight. He's got the Andre Arlovsky. Oh, you fucked up, son. God. Dude, I watched this knockout yesterday 400 times.
Dude, the accuracy to come underneath the helmet.
Dude, that was beast. Look, he wiped his hand off, and then he's like, what? Oh, what's going on? You see all his buddies, too. They were like tapping him on the ass with their sticks.
Look at these guys. They're laughing.
It's okay. I haven't seen a one punch like that in a long time.
In a long time. Wow.
Looks like you lost a tooth, eh? Sorry boot that.
Sorry.
Sorry boot that. Keller, man, you get that guy in MMA. What's he doing? He's just jacking fools. All right, let's go.
Ready for some beebs?
Yep, do it. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. Oh, yeah.
Got it.
There it is. Feels like home.
He's in. Where can I get one of those fans?
I got one in the basement, but I'm not going to sell it. Trendy trends, Google Trends.
Dude, we got some winners this week. I'm excited to go over this.
I have not been looking at these, so it's time for you to educate me on what is going on.
Educate.
What's going on?
All right, so question number 1. Why did Elton John walk off stage?
I don't know.
So Elton John is doing a residency at
we talked about
Vegas.
this, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so... And what he's been doing is during Saturday night, Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting, I believe is the name of the song. And so he's been inviting people on stage to be around him next to the piano while he plays this.
That seems like a mistake.
Yeah, and well, that happened this week. So I've got a video here of what went down.
Okay. Let's go.
So the guy to watch is
Can I say that I never liked Elton John?
Yeah, he's got a couple
I don't
winners.
get it.
There's a guy that's going to be right in this area where I'm putting the mouse.
So he's on a big piano. He's surrounded by like 100 people. Some guy just reached over with what seems to be the longest arm in the world.
And he's trying to touch him.
But he's brushing his tricep.
My favorite is the other fan who's over here on the corner who keeps telling him to stop. He's like, come on, man.
Look, bring that hand back in.
Okay, so watch Elton John's face here.
Okay. So he's still reaching for him. Oh, Elton's
Watch
pissed.
him. He's going to turn around.
Uh-oh.
He says, fuck off to him.
Fuck off.
And now Elton gets pissed.
Oh, no.
And now he's walking off stage.
Okay. He looks like a grumpy old man because he kind of like, he slouches forward like he's a tortoise. This is funny. Wow, he walked off stage and everybody's totally confused right now.
Yeah.
Good job. I'm trying to high five him.
He's brushing his tricep.
Well, listen to this dorky guy.
I know I saw him say fuck off to somebody.
I thought I saw him say fuck off to somebody.
All right, so there's a key point here.
Does he? So is that it?
No.
Oh, okay.
Listen to what song is starting as he says this.
No more coming on stage on Saturday night. You fucked it up.
You fucked it up. With what, Lion King?
Lion King is playing in the background, and he says, no more coming on stage for Saturday night. You fucked it up.
Little kids are like, oh my God.
This is as he's playing, getting ready to play Circle of Life.
I think people probably watch this and think like that guy is an asshole. I don't know if I'm in the wrong here, but I feel like Elton John is an asshole. He's such a diva. Like when you're so famous for so long that like someone touching you, brushing your arm 5 times is enough for you to tell him to fuck off, yell at him, and then walk off stage in the middle of a performance.
I don't even think he touched him, though, because you have a close-up of the video up in the corner, and you don't ever see the guy's arm come into frame. So I don't think he ever really touched him. I think he just got so annoyed with the idea that he was trying to touch him that it bothered him that point.
He's
to where
such
he
a
felt,
diva.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Dude, people love you. I mean,
Yeah.
there are guys that think that it's unbelievable to see you,
Yeah.
you know, and to think like, hey, can you control your fandom, please? Yeah, I know I called you fuckers all up here and you're all surrounding me. God forbid someone try to touch me. I bet if it was a girl or some shit, like a teenager, you'd be grabbing her hand and smiling at her. But because it's like some 30-year-old creep with a mustache, you're like, fuck off, and leave the stage.
I think he had like the Jerry Seinfeld puffy shirt on.
Yeah, let it go, man. My
Yeah.
God.
All right, so the next question is going to be, why was HEB's website crashing? So HEB is like a grocery store that is, I know they're in Texas because when you're down there that you hear the advertisement for it all the time. They go HEB, like the thing is, I guess.
Sounds like a good ad.
Yeah, so we have a little video here. So what HEB did this week was they put out a reusable grocery bag for Selena.
The Spanish singer?
Yes.
Okay.
So
I'm not hip to who she is. I've always heard that name.
yeah, so she was really famous. She was she died young. I'm not really sure. I think it was something that was, I can't remember exactly. I know that there's a movie with J-Lo. People will probably hate me for not knowing what was going on with that. But so here's the crazy part about this is how wild people get over these reusable shopping bags. Think about the bags that when you go to the grocery store you can buy for like $2.
Yeah, just like a shitty little bag.
Yeah, and that's what it is. So
Selena grocery bags at HEB. Now, we're sorry to say if you are looking for them, they are all sold out this evening.
Oh, no.
But some folks are actually selling those totes for a huge markup on resale sites. Our Natasha Barrett joins us live right now. And Natasha, we know you were looking for one of these bags today. Did you have any luck?
Do you have any luck? Queued up? Go.
oh, let's try again. So while we're waiting for this, we'll look here. But so people were buying these bags for $2 and then reselling them for $100 plus
For a silly ass bag.
for a bag. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Things are worth whatever you'll pay for them.
It is crazy. So they were taking these bags, buying them from the grocery store, and we really don't need to watch the rest of the video because that's essentially what they're going to say. But when you go down to the bottom down here, this is some of the funny part too. These are people who are on Twitter. The website for HEB, people were trying to buy them on there. It kept letting them put the bag in their cart, and then it wouldn't process
Oh,
the transaction, and people were freaking out on Twitter. And so it's as they're going through, they're like,
Oh my
they're
God.
teasing us, and it keeps showing the bag through there. So Selena's sister set up this website, and apparently there were like 600 bags that exist out there, and they were having to post flyers on the doors of these places saying, we don't have any more of these bags, please do not ask.
Jesus.
Essentially. So So people were freaking out, and this is a girl who's pacing around her room trying to order one off the internet.
God.
So apparently a reusable shopping bag was enough to crash HEB's website this
funny.
week. So very interesting.
Good old Selena still holding it down.
All right, so let's talk about the next question here. Who is on Warped Tour's final lineup? So this week, I don't know. I don't think that you knew that Warped Tour was done after this year. So we talked about this last night a little bit. But they announced the lineup this week. When you hear that it's going to be Warped Tour's final lineup or final time, you would think that it's going to be
I thought it was going to be like Woodstock or some shit. They were going to take every headliner from the last 10 years and just stack this with everybody you've ever heard of. And oh my gosh, when you go through this lineup, it is so bad.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable how bad it is.
So I'm going to read some names off here, and I want you to stop me when I get to somebody who you would actually like to see.
Okay.
So 303.
I've never even heard of them.
Yeah, they're terrible.
FYI.
All Time Low. The Amity Affliction. That's the worst band name of all time. As It Is. Asking Alexandria. Assuming We Survive. August Burns Red, Beartooth, Black Veil Brides, Bowling for Soup, Broadside, Capstan, Chase Atlantic, Chelsea Grin,
I could die.
Crown
right
the
now.
Empire, Dayseeker.
Wait. Who's the next one?
Dayseeker,
Okay.
Dead Girls Academy.
What about the next one?
D's Nuts.
D's Nuts is
That's
on the
a band.
Okay, continue.
Yeah, Doll Skin, Don Bronco, Every Time I Die.
I would want to see Every Time I Die
Okay.
because they're awesome.
Falling in Reverse, Farewell Winters, 4 Year Strong, Frank Turner, Grayscale, Hail the Sun, Harm's Way, Ice Nine Kills, In Hearts. Dude, last night when you were like, oh, 9 Inch Nails.
Yeah. I thought they were getting crazy. I thought it said 9 Inch Nails. I was like, oh, they're getting wild. Nope. Ice Nine Kills. Okay, keep going.
In Heart's Wake, The Interrupters, who is actually a great band.
Okay, I've never heard of them.
They're on They're on Hellcat. They're on Tim Armstrong's label. They're just a ska band.
Okay.
And they're very cool.
Got it.
Issues, Knocked Loose,
Huge fan.
Knuckle Puck. We've played Knocked Loose on the show before.
Yeah, love Knocked Loose.
Kublai Khan.
Okay.
Less Than Jake, legend, great.
Legend, so worth watching, sure.
Yeah. Lighter Burns, The Main, Make Out, Mayday Parade, Motionless.
I feel like this is what my grandma feels like when I was like 13 years old, telling her like my favorite bands or like favorite rappers. And she's just like, oh my God, Lee, fuck off. I'm like, Grandma, Bone Thugs and Harmony,
Yeah.
Notorious B.I.G.
Movements, who is okay. My Children, My Bride.
Oh, come on.
I'm not even going to pretend to pronounce that next name. I
can't even take the rest of this. I don't give a fuck about any of these bands.
Yeah, so.
Well, don't worry, though. Sum 41 is on there.
Oh, thank God for that.
I remember them when I was 14.
Simple Plan. We can be angry at our dad while we're there.
So apparently Vans Warped Tour wants to go out with a fizzle.
Yeah, it just really bums me out because when I was a kid, Warped Tour was like the thing that I looked forward to the most in the summer.
And then it became too much, though.
Yeah.
At one point, it became like they were trying to, like there's 10 fucking stages and a bunch of bands you don't know, and it was like they're filling too much space just to make cash, and it's like they're going to end that way.
Yeah.
It's like, to me, when I look at that lineup and they say it's the last one, I'm like, I get it.
One last cash grab.
It looks like you were done.
Yep.
Because that lineup is horrible.
Yep. So, next question. Let's go ahead and move on. So, what is Donald Glover, a.k.a. Childish Gambino, buying this week?
I heard about this, and it's pretty funny.
So, here we go.
There's a really great video that's going around right now. There's a young girl. She's a Girl Scout. And have you seen this?
Yes.
This video?
Yes.
And for people who haven't, she used your Childish song.
They're from Atlanta too, I think.
They're from Atlanta?
I think they're from Atlanta.
She used your song Redbone to try to sell some of her Girl Scout cookies. Do we have this, Jim?
You wanna order some before it's too late. We also got trifles and they taste great.
This kid is way too cute.
So now, when you see that, that's impact. That's changing people's lives.
Childish Gambino's for the children, man.
So what do you think like when you see something like that?
It's beautiful, but it's also crazy to me. Like I was like, yeah, man. I never was like, I'll make this, and then one day a little girl will sell Girl Scout cookies to it. It's pretty great. I don't know. Like, a lot of people sent that to me. I was really touched, especially that they're from Atlanta. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it make you hungry for Girl Scout cookies?
Yeah, I would actually really like to buy some from her. Like, I really do.
Well, you're in luck because her name is Charity Joy, and she's right here. Come on out.
Oh, no way. Oh, this is hilarious.
Oh, I did.
Come on over here.
You guys do.
Go here. Please sit here.
So there's not much. We can kind of
Hi, Charity.
narrate the rest of the video because there's
Thanks so
not
much.
much sound that's left. But essentially, he's on Colbert. They bring the girl out, and he buys the remainder of her Girl Scout cookies, and then they hand them out to the crowd.
That is awesome.
So,
oh my God,
she is absolutely adorable, though. So if you get a chance to watch the video of her singing it, it is absolutely hilarious. She's sitting in the car,
cute.
and her dad is playing the music, and she's holding up the boxes of cookies, singing the song.
That's awesome.
All right, so next question. This is one I really wanted to touch on because I wanted to get your opinions on this.
Yeah.
So Amazon purchased something new this week. So the question is, what did Amazon purchase this week?
I would have no idea.
So Amazon is to splash $1 billion to acquire smart home security company Ring, which is made for famous for their video doorbells.
Yep.
So they purchased that this week, and the reason they're purchasing this is to go along with their Amazon Key program. So what do you know about that?
Amazon Key, is that the thing where they can like open up your door and they put packages inside your house?
Yes. So I have a little video here. This is from Amazon, kind of on what
that is.
Heard
about this on the streets, and it sounds absolutely bonkers. To me.
You already know Amazon is the easiest way to get what you need, like gifts for people whose birthday you've forgotten. As an Amazon Prime member, you'll now be able to use Amazon Key, a new service that enables in-home delivery.
Whoa, you can just click it as like a little feature. What the hell?
With the Amazon Key app, you can also grant access to the people you trust. Let's say you need to remotely manage guest access to the front door of your home, maybe to let in your dog walker, a friend, or maybe to let in a team of home cleaning ninjas. To get started, order the Amazon Key in-home kit.
No way.
Which
I know.
includes Amazon Cloud Cam and one of several compatible smart locks. Have it installed by a pro, or if you're handy, install it yourself. Once installed, it's no problem if you're not at home. With Amazon Key, you can get your packages delivered just inside your door.
I like that they make the
track your
person
delivery
look
with
so
real-time
professional.
notifications.
That is not what
Watch the
Amazon
delivery happen
drivers
live.
look like.
No, I've ordered from there.
Or
Trust
review
me,
a
I
video
know.
of the delivery after it's complete. Maybe you don't want your packages sitting out on display. Maybe rain is in the forecast. Or maybe you just need your mom's gift moments before she walks through the door. You know, because you're awesome.
Oh, they stole all of her furniture. That's why she's living like that.
Hey, that's pretty good.
So
that to me is crazy talk.
Yeah.
So in Amazon, they're gonna hold on a server somewhere the code in which allows access to your home. Is this not like a hacker's dream? You just go. This is going to happen, right? I mean, this is going to come soon.
Yeah.
People are going to hack this, gain access to people's houses, and that's going to just happen. And it's going to be no forced entry. You're coming right in the fucking door.
So the way this works, just to kind of give you...
Hey, but don't worry. You got cameras, Ryan.
Yeah.
You can watch them steal all your shit.
So there is it looks like it works very similar to like how you would use Apple Pay or something like that, where essentially the Amazon driver is going to come up to the lock, they'll take their phone, put it over top of your lock, it unlocks the lock, and as they're unlocking it, they'll stick your package inside, and when that happens, your camera that you have that goes along with this device that's supposed to be pointed at the door will watch them drop the package inside and then relock your door. There are just too many things that can go wrong with this.
And looking in your house, like it's creepy. And once you click it, I would imagine they have access whenever they come there. So let alone they come at some inopportune time. You know?
Yeah, I don't know how that works, but it seems...
You're sitting on the couch, itching your nuts in your boxers on your day off, here comes, Amazon driver. Like, here's your pack. Hey, whoa. Didn't mean to see your nuts, Mr. Powell.
Yeah, it is very crazy.
That seems real weird, man. And then like you have people like going in the door and they're like looking around a little bit. Like they open the door and they get a little look-see.
Well, the other thing is like, what kind of person do you have to be okay with doing that? Like, to be a driver? Like, I can tell you right now, as a normal human being, I am not okay with the liability of opening somebody's door and sticking a package inside.
See, you know what the difference is? I think about myself. That's the problem. I would be perfect for that job because I know I'm not a weirdo or a creep and I don't want to see into your house. I would open up the door with like my left hand. With my right hand, I'd slip it in there while I'm facing the fucking street. And you know what I mean? And I'd put it in the door and I'd close that door and I'd be on my fucking
But the
way.
paranoia of like making like the door not relocking or something like that would just like, that would mess with me. Like, I'm like,
then I double check the door. I would just come up with my little operation.
Yeah, I guess.
I go up, I unlock, open it with my left hand, slip in with my right hand, pull it out, close the door, lock it, check it, on my way.
There you go.
And then I'd be that guy. But that's the thing is like, I'm lucky enough to be like over a team, a large group of people at my work, multi-million-dollar operations. Yeah, I probably am not the person meant to be a driver.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
That's where people that have like maybe side jobs or doing a thing on the side, or maybe it's someone just trying to make a couple bucks. Those are usually not the most highly effective people. If so, they're probably doing other shit. It's someone that's maybe going to college and doing something, just trying to grab some cash quickly. I don't know if those are the people I want coming in my house. It just doesn't seem like, you're not going to have really, really good people doing. I've seen some drivers for Amazon, dude, that I was like, what the fuck is this dude doing? Like, this guy is fresh out of jail delivering my stuff. He's got a pencil mustache, looking like a straight up creep.
A pencil mustache.
I don't know, man. That's what I picture, like some kid loving weirdo, and he's just like eyeballing my house, seeing if like I have a kid or something. Man, that shit freaks me out.
Yeah,
I don't want anybody gaining access to my house. That's weird.
Not
man.
okay with that.
No, that is not cool.
All right, so next question here. How is that guy not dead?
Oh my gosh. You showed me this video. This is almost as good as my hockey video.
All right, so I want you to give me some play-by-play on this.
So this guy is on a motorcycle in the fast lane. Oh, he's getting some speed wobble. There's a huge truck next to him. He goes underneath it. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation style. Was that good? That was fast.
That was good.
Oh my god.
So here's the slow-mo.
And there's a big truck right on the right of him. Like a 16-wheeler. He goes under it. I don't know how he can fit through this little ass space. Holy shit. You can see the back of the tread of the tire. You can see the mud flap damn near hit him in the foot. That's how close he is to getting ran over.
And then he stands up and runs to the side of the highway. He has a little bit of road rash.
I like that he's screaming, I'm not dead. I'm not dead. That sucked. Look, everyone's telling him to calm down, and I wouldn't like that part.
Yeah.
I'd be like, what? Do I have something like hanging off me or some shit? Like, what are you guys freaking out for? I feel fine.
Yeah, so we will make sure to post this video.
Holy
but this
shit.
guy literally slid underneath of a semi on it.
And it had like skirts underneath it to where it wasn't even National Lampoon's where it was a big open area. That had like a skirt on it.
Yeah.
So really it was like in between the wheel to a skirt, maybe a 4-foot gap. This guy is going underneath. He keeps good enough speed to where he goes right through that little 4-gap window, stays enough forward to where he doesn't fall back. I mean, if you think about it, say he made it through the one side.
Yeah.
But then he slows down enough to where now the skirt traps him underneath and he would get ran over by the back tires. Somehow he goes perfectly left to right all the way through. Man, that guy couldn't be luckier.
Yeah, the speed wobbles like shot him sideways. If he doesn't,
I'm surprised he stayed on. Like if I start getting speed wobble like that, I'd rather just
jump
fall
off the back. Yeah,
fall straight down. Like
yeah.
I'll take the straight down before I go under a fucking truck.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Oh man, that made me poop a little.
All right, so next question. This is fantastic, especially for any Rick and Morty fans out there. So, how do people feel about the return of Szechuan sauce to McDonald's?
I thought that this only existed in the Rick and Morty ethos. I didn't know that people legitimately liked Szechuan sauce.
Yeah,
I've never even had it. I don't even know what it is.
So this came out. It was a special that came out with the movie Mulan back in the day, and so after this, there was a episode of Rick and Morty where they are looking for this sauce, and they basically they created a demand for the sauce so strong that McDonald's decided to release it. So last year in October, McDonald's gave away across the country some jugs of Szechuan sauce.
Like some remaining sauce, I suppose?
Yes, so they gave it away, and as they gave it away, people were getting it, and then they sold it online. And so there was one of those jugs sold online for $15,000 plus
for sauce
to the DJ Deadmau5.
Oh, yeah,
who is apparently a huge Rick and Morty fan. But it was such
and crazy rich.
Yeah, so it was such a popular thing that fans pushed enough to where they were able to get it, and McDonald's has started selling Szechuan sauce.
Oh, really? Right now?
Yes.
Wow.
So they have it again. And so they released this all over the internet this week. So
all right, last one, and then we're out of here.
Yes, I'm about to pee my pants right now.
Yes, I'm peeing in my chair.
All right, so why was J.R. Smith suspended?
I legitimately have no idea.
So J.R. Smith plays for the Cavaliers.
Okay.
This week.
Oh yeah, J.R. Smith. Yep.
Yeah, he was suspended for throwing soup at an assistant coach. There was a disagreement during the shoot around and before a game, and he threw soup at an assistant coach.
At the shoot around, so they hang out eating soup.
That's
at those
where
things?
the confusion is right now. So people online are very confused about whether this happened actually
what kind of soup?
At the shoot around or whether it happened afterwards or so on and so forth. There's a lot of confusion here. So people were ringing in on Twitter and trying to decide whether it was in a bowl, was it in a styrofoam cup, was it actually at the shoot around? How did he get soup at the shoot around? One of my favorites is somebody who's throwing some shade at J.R. Smith himself. The good news is that there's only a 39.2% chance it actually hit Damon Jones.
Wow. That is good. How dare you?
Where did J.R. Smith even find a bowl of soup?
Seriously.
Are they bringing soup on the court? Was it hot? Was it cold? Did he throw the whole bowl? Was it ceramic, plastic, or styrofoam? These are all important questions that the internet wants to know. So, very strange suspension. He was suspended for 1 game for throwing soup at a coach.
That is absolutely hilarious.
So, let's bring it in before I pee my pants.
Let's get out of here. I'm ready to go.
Let's do...
We turn into a pumpkin in 7 minutes.
This is
a
little jawbreaker this week. All right, so my shout-outs this week are for Amber Addison, Sarah Hasselbeck, Ray Hughes, Megan Schauber, Robert Blake, and Randy Dobson. Sir, you better hit us up and tell us what you spent all that money on on Instagram. So, have a great week, guys.
Edge Watch. Let's get our binoculars up.
Yeah.
All right, I got Candace Gardner, Ray Hughes, Amber Addison, Stu Diamond, Dan Hilton. Congrats to Vegan and Jessica on the engagement. And also everybody else, please subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. Helps us out a lot. Make us to where we're not as poor when it comes to this show. We love you. Hope you enjoy it. See you next week.
Try to explain, Christ, what's the use?